Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Lost One podcast, episode 20. Again, because we recorded another 20 last week. And,
Yes.
long story short, some stuff came up that we wanted to talk about immediately. So without further ado, we're just going to kind of dive right in. As you can see, Samurai's not with us today. He had some family events going on. So Shoshima's here, though.
Hello.
And Tanner's also here down here. So if you see me, doing this, I'm trying to keep him happy because he's been jumping on Shoshima since he got here.
Yeah, it's not Shenzo playing pocket pool at all. It's him playing with Tanner.
See, it's all clear. But anyway, so there's a lot we want to talk about. So let's dive right on in. We're for those that are living under a rock at the time of this recording. There's kind of another fire going on Twitter right now. For those that haven't heard. And you can probably tell we're recording this on Thursday. I believe it's December 14th. I think that's right. Yeah?
The 15th.
Oh, it's the 15th. Jeez. Okay. So correct everything I just said. It is the 15th, Thursday the 15th. And a whole lot of journalists, ranging from New York Times reporters to CNN to MSNBC, including independent ones such as Aaron Rupar, have all been suspended permanently from Musk Twitter. And the one common denominator they all have is that they've all been either covering him or critical of him.
Mm-hmm.
And, coming from the dude who was like, oh, yeah, we're going to make this a real, free speech thing.
Yeah.
That's rich, going after freaking journalists. He's also permanently suspended, I believe it's Keith Olbermann, who's a personality on MSNBC. Uh-huh. And several other names that I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's a pretty big shot at Twitter's integrity and in the faith of it, because now these major news organizations, which up until now have had a reasonable partnership with Twitter, previously under Jack and now under Musk, even with all this nonsense going on.
Yeah.
Now this is essentially Musk declaring war on them and basically daring them to do something, which, spoiler alert, I don't think they can.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that. Tanner has decided he wants to...
he's digging to China.
Yeah, digging for treasure. But it's definitely something, we've been very critical of Musk here on the podcast, and we decided we'll open up with that and just, rip him a new asshole because, it's so rich to me because this is the same dude who he unbanned Donald Trump, who, of course, was banned from Twitter because he literally used it to organize and incite an insurrection on January 6, 2021.
Yeah.
In an effort to overthrow the duly elected president of the United States. And a whole, if you don't think that's real, check all the court cases because almost all of them that have been accused are now either in prison or in the process of being sentenced. So there you go. But he's also... basically helped amplify and support a bunch of right-wing hate accounts. Mm-hmm. Libs of TikTok being a big one. I don't know if you paid attention to that Colorado shooting at Club Q, I think is what it was called. Mm-hmm. But a couple weeks ago, there was another mass shooting, or at least it would have been a mass shooting had a former veteran not tackled the shooter.
Well, that's
and
awesome.
then a drag queen literally kicking him with high heels.
That's what's more awesome.
Yeah, right. I mean, if anything, I know that the stereotype is America with shotguns, but veteran and drag queen in high heels stopping a shooter is, I think, pretty American in my opinion.
America.
Woke garbage, raise up. But basically, Libs of TikTok was accused of, basically publicizing this club and using the whole groomer slur, which, by the way, I want to be very clear, is entirely baseless. But it's the most recent attack on the LGBTQAI community. But traditionally it aims at transgender individuals. So, just want to kind of give some context there. But yeah, Libs of TikTok basically they direct hate and they channel outrage at these different clubs that host these LGBTQ events.
Uh-huh.
You might have heard more in the news of how the drag queen reading events at libraries have been targeted.
Oh, okay.
By extremists like the Proud Boys who are coming in with weapons and making threats and basically trying to intimidate or bully these events into either shutting down or silencing them. There's been a lot. So, I mean, Twitter has literally gone, and I mean, obviously we've covered a lot, but every time you think there's a new low and you can't get lower, Musk finds a shovel and starts digging. And
yeah, he's good at digging holes.
Yeah, he's really good.
That movie with Shia LaBeouf.
Probably, but then he wouldn't have gotten his awesome hair plugs probably.
Oh,
so
true.
But yeah, so Musk is now now he's going after journalists and pretty much anyone who dares to criticize him. And it's really funny too because like I just want to talk about this, but like the New York Times just released one of the most shallow, pathetic reports I've probably ever seen in my life. Mm-hmm. And that's saying something as someone who studied this for a long time. Like,
yeah,
they literally their headline was something like, Musk has gotten into a war of words with like liberal advocates, but we still don't know what his politics are. And it's like, have you literally like opened up Twitter and checked his tweets?
Uh-huh.
He's in bed with extreme right-wingers. Like, he's taking unban requests from them.
Mm-hmm.
He's targeting liberal accounts. And it's like, literally do like, I hate the term do your own research because that usually means like the opposite of doing your own research.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you're freaking journalists.
Yeah.
How on earth did you be like? It was a joke. So the fact that they just got one of their reporters suspended, and this was not the same guy who wrote that puff piece, by the way, it was someone else on the New York Times payroll. But the fact that they just got him suspended is like, I can't think of like another like example of like leopard eating my face. Have you heard of that?
It sounds familiar, but I don't remember.
So there's basically an online where it's like, it was an online meme. I don't know where it originated, but there's a really popular subreddit now called Leopards Ate My Face.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, the meme went something like, I didn't know leopards would eat my face, says the woman who voted for Leopards Eating Faces Party.
Ah.
Like, it's basically, you do something and then
like,
that thing comes back to bite you in the ass.
Actually happened to me, though.
Yeah, exactly. And you see a lot of that, but like for the New York Times, like to publish that type of like puff piece, and quite frankly for a lot of media, that to have really, really tried to do this whole both sidism shit, and they've been doing it for years.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the inevitable result, is when you try to both sides people who are clearly arguing in bad faith.
Yeah.
And who are clearly not to be taken seriously in any of their positions because they're pushing some sort of hatred or intolerance, or in Musk's case, basically just on this giant ego trip that's nothing but self-serving. And you tolerate that, and then you elevate that, and you equate it with other people who are saying, this is wrong, this is bad, why are you allowing this to happen?
Mm-hmm. You're
basically elevating them and creating a new normal.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, again, it's like, I don't know when people will learn, but it's not a coincidence that almost everybody who was suspended from Twitter today, as far as the journalists, have been critical of Musk.
Yeah.
They just happen to be under the payroll of organizations that have largely tolerated his presence and tried to normalize him, like that New York puff piece I mentioned earlier. But this all comes, by the way, a couple days after a report just came out stating that Musk is no longer paying rent on any of Twitter's buildings, which includes Twitter HQ in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, this report also states that Musk is at least considering going back on his severance deals. In other words, refusing to pay out the agreed-upon severance deal that a lot of employees took when they left not that long ago.
Yeah.
So, in short, Twitter is an absolute dumpster fire right now, and pretty much all of it can be traced back to Elon Musk.
Yeah.
And again, it's not to say that, like, every problem we've talked about with, like, the right-wing hate sphere, libs, libs on TikTok or whatever the fuck that account's called.
Yeah.
But, like, some of it did exist before Musk took over, but obviously all of this is just blown up more and more, and it basically was like that, for Futurama fans out there, it's like when they launched all their garbage into space and then it came back, so then they had to launch a second ball of garbage to deflect the first one.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of what's happening right now, is it's a proverbial shit show. And, I'm almost certain part of the reason Musk did it was just to, out of spite and pettiness, and also to stay in the headlines, because he's literally on, like, this self-spiraling, downward spiral, like, ego trip. And
yeah, well, I mean, and I heard, too...
It's crazy.
Some rumors, I guess, that, he mentioned buying Twitter, and then, what was it, I think we talked about it in a previous podcast where they sued him to buy Twitter.
Yeah, so what happened is he talked about it. He entered into an agreement. I guess he signed some documentation that said he was going to do it, so it became legally binding.
Yeah.
Then he tried to back out when he realized, oh my god, I'm spending like whatever it was, like 54 billion.
I thought it was 44, but
maybe it was 44. The number keeps going up in my head every time I tell the story.
Yeah.
But again, not journalists, everybody. Sorry, we don't cite a whole lot. But yeah, 44 billion or whatever it was.
Where'd you get that information? The internet.
Yep, internet. Then he tried to back out because he realized this is a horrible deal.
Yeah, he realized business-wise, like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because the other thing, too, is I don't even think Twitter was worth, like, even close to what he offered for it.
No, not to my knowledge.
I think it was, like, $1 billion company, or at least it was pretty close, but I don't think it was, like... I don't think it was worth 44 billion.
Yeah, so... I don't know how they value like social media sites like that sometimes.
Oh god, I have no idea. Like I wouldn't even start. Like if business is like your forte on this podcast compared to like myself and Samurai, I wouldn't even know where to start with that. Like I think it's all hogwash personally. But, yeah. I think of that about a lot of things. So.
Yeah, I mean, especially with it being free, the only thing they get is ads and or selling your data.
Yeah, well, selling data is like a pretty lucrative market. I actually can talk about that a little bit. But...
No, I'm just saying as far as their actual income.
Yeah, marketing companies love buying data from websites, especially when the user's just provided for free.
Yeah.
You can't get any better than that. It's like targeted ads on television, but way more specific because you have way more information.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been an absolute crap show for Musk and Twitter, and it looks like it's only going to continue. So I sent this out to everybody in my Discord channel, but like, if you're watching this and you haven't already like copied all of the important stuff off of Twitter, like please do so. And I'm not asking you to quit the website. Like I'm not going to go that far. I personally probably won't delete my account, but I'm hoping to kind of outlast Musk. That's my hope anyway. But with that said, it's like just make sure if you have anything important on there, back it up and store it somewhere else. Like that's the best advice I can give you.
Yeah.
And, that's not going to stop me from criticizing Musk.
That's also good advice for any like cloud-based platform to have.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen it with like plenty of video games, right? Where it's like online only and the servers go down, and oh look, all that money you spent on it is gone forever. Yeah. And you got nothing out of it.
Yeah, the whole video game preservation's been a thing lately.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story we'll have to talk about at some point. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've been talking a lot about this. What's kind of your take on all this, Shoshima? I want you to kind of.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking before the podcast, and you're like, "Oh man, Musk like banned a lot of people who were critical of him." I'm like, "No way! You're talking about the same guy who people changed their accounts to parody Musk, and they got insta banned.
Yeah,
like that guy is banning people. Who would have thunk?"
Shocked Pikachu face.
I know, like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I mean, he just day by day just seems more like a little man baby.
Yeah, and it's
somehow got power and is in charge. Well, unfortunately for all the hardworking people that do actually work at Twitter.
Yeah, right. That's like my big thing is like it's as much as I like want to celebrate the fact that like Twitter is currently a flaming ball of hot garbage as I described it earlier. There are a lot of people who worked for Twitter and who are still there who are caught in the crossfire.
Yeah.
And so I'm really glad you brought that up because it is important. Like, I specifically just want to dunk on Musk.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, man baby, I think it's very accurate. And it's pretty crazy to see, like, how far he's fallen. Maybe he was always like this and he did a much better job of keeping his image, but...
I mean, I've felt that's social media, too, in general, like, I don't feel we've gotten to know people like, other celebrities nearly as easily as nowadays. And then you realize like who they actually are, like through social media.
Yeah.
Or, in this case, he's getting into the news headlines because of it.
Yeah.
And realize that, he's just a giant troll. It'd be okay if he didn't have any power, but the problem is someone somewhere gave him power.
Yeah, I mean, he's the second richest man. He officially fell off the top of that list.
Oh, okay.
Due to I think he just had to buy back or sell a whole bunch of like Tesla stocks because he's hemorrhaging money in Twitter. Like, you don't stop paying rent on your building because you're in a good financial spot.
No, that's how you run business, obviously.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
No, I'm being sarcastic.
Oh, I know you are, but I'm just saying I was too. But yeah, it's just one of those things where again, like it's so crazy because like he is in many ways like the picture perfect example of like someone with too much goddamn money.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I don't really know if we can summarize it any better than that.
It's like if Scrooge McDuck was just a fucking asshole.
I mean, he kind of is, but
yeah,
he
at least loved,
at least he loved his nephews. So
yeah.
there's that. And also in Kingdom Hearts, he did try to recreate that sea salt ice cream.
Oh yeah.
So you know that was
spent all his money on sea salt ice cream.
Yeah, hey, it paid off though.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you know, so we'll move on from us because there is another big piece of news we wanted to tackle. But yeah, fuck Elon Musk. Yeah. Take that in your pipe and smoke it.
Oh. And our condolences for all the people. Hopefully, either they can get severance or find work or something.
Yeah, just
all those poor Twitter workers.
Yeah, hopefully they can get the heck out of Dodge, that's for sure. Because, you know, that's the other issue when you're dealing with someone with too much money is a lot of innocent people get caught up in the crossfire. So
yeah.
So speaking of organizations with too much money, we're going to talk the main subject of today's episode. Now that we're kind of done addressing Musk and basically telling him to go fuck himself, because you know First Amendment and all that. So, assuming YouTube doesn't want to take this down anyway, because you know, again, another private company, they can do that.
They can.
But big news coming out of DC. We're actually going to talk a lot about DC. So for longtime listeners, you might remember I went on a infamous 20-minute rant about everything that DC's been doing wrong. And
during a Thor podcast.
Yeah, during a Thor podcast of all the time. And you can blame Samurai on that one.
It's all his fault.
It is, because he's the one who brought it up and asked the question. And it was like, well, we have to give the full context for this. So here we go.
20 minutes later.
But,
so where do you want to start with DC?
Well, let's start off with kind of what the previously big news was that didn't drop last week. But okay. we'll talk with Black Adam. Let's start there, and we'll just kind of move forward because I think all of this is tied together.
Sure. The Black Adam, the mess of a movie.
Yeah.
Apparently, not watching the trailer helps the movie.
It helps a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, my wife had the foresight to not watch it. Apparently.
Yeah. The for those that don't understand what we're referencing, the trailer basically gives away the big surprise twist in the third act.
Yeah. That. Okay.
So
spoiler, not spoiler for anyone who actually knows Black Adam.
Yeah.
But knowing who the character is, it wouldn't have been a huge spoiler for myself or Shenzo.
Yeah.
We would have seen it coming, but it would have been fine.
Yeah, but for the casual viewer, it was still given away in the trailer.
In the first line of the trailer.
Yeah. So, if you don't know what we're referring to, they basically spend the first, 2 acts assuming that the viewer doesn't know that Black Adam, played by The Rock, is the one who was intended to have the power and the hero basically of legend. And then in the third act it's revealed no, it was actually his son, and he took the power and basically used it to cause the destruction. So the story is that Black Adam was a savior, and then he was also a destroyer. The son was the savior, The Rock's character was the destroyer.
Correct.
And it was 2 different people with the same power, which came from the wizard Shazam. And basically, The Rock's character wasn't worthy of the power, but his son was.
Correct.
So, and in the trailer, like Shoshima said, it was the first line. His son...
Yeah, it's my son died to give me this power, or something of the effect.
Yeah. And it's
But the entire movie, they gloss it over. They specifically don't show The Rock in that opening scene.
Yeah.
But I knew it was The Rock. I'm not a fucking idiot.
Yeah, yeah. And, yeah, they basically spend, the first 2 acts of the movie building up, Black Adam, he's a savior and a destroyer.
Yeah. And,
with, some really awesome lines from Dr. Fate, who was, the all-star of that movie. But, yeah, it's so they just gave that away. And, of course, the end credit scene, and major spoilers for Black Adam, if you care about it at this point. I mean, the movie's been out for 2 months at this point.
Yeah, so. And it's not a spoiler for the movie itself, just the scene.
But the end credits, Henry Cavill returned to Superman, which was a really big deal because...
We had no idea.
Yeah, well, I knew it was going to come because they had been teasing it, but,
It was the first official, I guess.
Yeah, it was the first thing that was confirmed, and it was a big deal because Cavill hadn't been in a DC movie, I think, since Justice League. So, it had been a while. Like, when did Justice League come out? Like 2017?
Has it been that long already?
It feels like it, yeah. But either way, it's been a while. Because, Batman v Superman came out in like 2000.
I thought that was 16 for some reason.
Like 2014, I think. Because Man of Steel was like 2011.
Was it?
Yeah. I think so.
Time is a flat circle.
It really is. But anyway, yeah. So, it had been a long time since, he had been back in the suit.
Yeah.
And so it was a really big deal. And then, of course, like, the next day after, like, this is what I'll never understand. Why did they, like, announce it and plaster it everywhere on Friday after the movie came out? But, yeah, Warner Brothers and Henry Cavill basically announced, oh, yeah, he's back as Superman.
They were already talking about it, like, not even after, like, I don't even think they waited the full opening weekend.
No, they didn't. It was like, literally the next day. It was Friday, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And so, that was the first kind of big piece of news. And, it was also, like, a groan from a lot of, like, fans who want the Snyderverse. No, I almost said Spider-Verse.
I was like,
sorry.
Whoa, that's a way different.
I've got the Spider-Verse on my head because I'm literally going into that one blind.
Oh, okay.
Across the Spider-Verse, I'm going into a blind. I haven't watched the trailer. I haven't seen anything because I'm like, I know it's going to be good. It's like the only Marvel thing Sony does that I know is going to be good. So I'm just like, I'm going in blind. Don't want anything. But no, with the Snyderverse, they wanted the Snyderverse to be rebooted, which I think at this point is honestly, like, that's where I've been, is like, look, no disrespect to any of the actors or the actresses who have been involved, but man, like, you look at, like, the entire cast of Justice League, Gal Gadot was out. We didn't know the status of Henry Cavill for a long time. Ezra Miller, we've talked about it at length on the podcast, but like has totally destroyed their reputation. Ray Fisher is out due to racism claims against, I think it was Joss Whedon and other members of Warner Brothers.
Oh, okay.
He played Cyborg, for those who don't know. And then Gal Gadot also had, like, rampant sexism, which is awful.
Yeah.
So it's just, again, like, across the board, like, pretty much all, like, their top stars. I think it was just, like, Jason Momoa, who plays Aquaman, was, like, the only one who was, like, still, like, confirmed to be involved. And, that's cool and all, because he's been great as Aquaman.
Yeah, no, that was great casting.
Like, but... Yeah, so it's like, okay, cool. So we've got, like, one of the centerpieces, and then, of course, Ben Affleck's not involved anymore.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, basically you have, like, out of, like, your original Justice League members, like, you only have 2 left at this point. And it's like, okay, so everyone kind of groaned. It's like, what are you going to do? And then, like, Black Adam just made the timeline even more confusing because, like, the... Justice Society?
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Justice Society
of America.
Is of America, yeah, JSA. I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep, like, all of it in my head. And, they've apparently been active this entire time. Like, they've just kind of established...
Yeah, they've been there the whole time. We just haven't seen nothing.
Or heard of them, or haven't been name dropped or anything. Like... Really, like, the whole thing's just a jump, and then there's Shazam, and then where does the Suicide Squad place? And the Suicide Squad is like...
Wait, because it's the same Amanda Waller.
Yeah, it's the same Amanda Waller, and then Captain Boomerang and Harley Quinn are both in the same movie, but, like, it's only kind of, like, winked at.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, okay, there's basically, like, this giant mess of a... Universe that we don't really know what's going on. And then, of course, there's...
I don't think they know what's going on.
Yeah, well, then, of course, there's the separate Joker universe, and then, of course, Matt Reeves' Batman, which is also supposed to be separate.
Wait, the Joker universe?
Yeah, that's the Joker movie with...
yeah, Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix,
yes.
Yeah. The one that
Aren't they supposedly making a sequel?
They are, and I'm like, why?
Yeah, that one, I don't know.
I know it was, like, critically acclaimed, but, like...
Well, yeah, but because it was trying to be more of a movie than a superhero movie, for sure.
Yeah, I hate it. I hate it.
But I figured, like, it just seemed like a very one-and-done storyline, but I don't know.
It should have been, but, again, this is Warner Brothers, and as I've talked about at length, they don't seem to know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, we'll get into a part where they actually make a decision where I think it's one of the best decisions they've made.
Yeah, so are you saying Warner Brothers is like Sony? They just don't know what the fuck to do?
Yeah, well, it's weird because, like, Sony, at least, they go all in on their bad ideas.
they go full ass.
Yeah, Warner Brothers seems to, like, do this, like, weird half step. And, like, Warner Brothers has had, like, some good films. Like, Shazam was way better than it had any right to be.
Shazam was great.
The original Wonder Woman was pretty solid, except for the ending. Man of Steel is fine for what it is.
Yeah, Man of Steel was okay.
Batman v Superman could have been really good, but...
Could have.
They fucked that ending up, and then we don't even need to talk about Justice League. Oh my god. But like, yeah, and then you had James Gunn's Suicide Squad, and they've had like shining moments. Aquaman was way better than it should have been. Yeah. Like, just on the basis that they're making a movie on Aquaman, and like somehow they made it really awesome. So I don't know, they did a really good job with it. In many ways, though, kind of unrelated. I don't know. Have you seen Black Panther: Wakanda Forever yet?
Yes.
So I am positive that Marvel took some notes on what they did in Aquaman for that movie with all the stuff with Namor. And I'm not going into spoilers, but
as far as like the way they built the city,
the way they built the way they handled all the other water stuff, because that's always really tricky.
Oh, and like they the effects.
Yeah, the effects and the technique. I was looking. I'm like, this seems really familiar. I'm like, it's from I've seen it. I saw it in Aquaman.
They're both underwater. I mean, it's hard to.
But I'm just saying, like,
you can't copyright. Well, my underwater.
No, but it's weird to see DC ahead of Marvel in a way.
Yeah, well,
like at least in their film, at least in their live action films.
Yeah, I was gonna say back in the day, animated wise, they were always ahead.
They're still ahead. Like, and it's not even close. DC's animated stuff is still really good. So if you haven't seen any DC's animated stuff, check it out. But they decided to hire James Gunn as like kind of their Kevin Feige.
Basically,
Warner and
the Kevin.
Yeah, them being Warner Brothers, pronouns, pal. But yeah, the Kevin. So now they have the James.
She-Hulk reference.
It was, and
that was great though.
I'm
not even gonna lie.
It was She-Hulk. Okay, She-Hulk's gotten so much shit on it. It is so good.
It's good for what it is.
Yeah.
And my favorite part is, like, again, not to get too much into Marvel on our DC podcast this time.
Oh, it's fine. We did DC and Marvel. It's fine. Go for it.
It's the title of show: She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. People are like, I don't like this. It's kind of like a lawyer show. What the fuck is this? Okay, I'm just...
Well, the best part about that is apparently the showrunner realized that their writers didn't have law show writing experience. So that's why there's like almost no court cases, and the ones that are, like, every lawyer is like, you wouldn't do that!
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's good, but yeah, the people who don't really care and aren't paying attention to the actual, like, lawyer stuff, it's like, I don't know, man. This seems like a lawyer show. I wanted a Marvel beat 'em up.
Let me just put it this way: that She-Hulk is very, very, very comic book accurate to the character.
Correct.
Like, it's very well done. So
from what I've heard, I haven't been a super. I haven't read really any comics, honestly.
Oh man.
Let alone She-Hulk.
Okay, remind me after we stop recording. I have a comic you need to read because it involves Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
You'll love it. I read it the other day and I cried. It was so good.
Oh yeah, speaking of Spider-Man comics, apparently the creator of My Hero is a huge Spider-Man fan.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
I learned that the other day.
Yeah, I wonder, the guy who created My Hero Academia, anime superheroes, is a comic book fan. Who would have guessed?
No, I know, but specifically, like, I've seen some of the images, like with Deku versus Muscular.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's just straight up Spidey versus Venom.
Yeah.
Like,
no, he literally gave Deku, like, powers specifically to mimic Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But, so James Gunn is going to take over as DC. We're going to switch right back over to DC now after that aside. And along with another guy whose name I should know, but I can never remember. But
yeah, he did have a partner, but I don't remember.
Yeah, but anyway, really, really good hands. Like, both of them have been good. And, like, Gunn, we kind of alluded to how, like, DC has been kind of all over the place as far as their live action films. Gunn is like the only director, I think, to have like 2 back-to-back successes in DC.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, and then he was able to take something like Guardians of the Galaxy, like a C-tier like team.
No, they were C-tier at best.
Yeah, putting it nicely. And making it like a popular like mainstream like thing for the MCU.
Yeah, they're now considered like I don't know if I would call them A-list, but they're like high B. Mm-hmm. So, like, it's a pretty big jump.
Yeah, as far as, like, MCU characters, I do enjoy the Guardians.
Yeah, and, he also, again, he did the Suicide Squad, which was considered to be one of DC's best films, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, I need to go back and watch that.
And then his second in a row, because I mentioned he's one of the only who's done 2 successful in DC, was The Peacemaker Show, which I haven't seen because I don't have HBO Max, but I've heard great things about it. I've seen enough clips to go, like, I would watch this. I would watch this 100%. And it doesn't help, of course, that, like, John Cena, being the former wrestler, is just, like, all in on the Peacemaker character. Like,
yeah.
Like, you can tell when an actor is, like...
Made for a role. And
John Cena and Peacemaker... Chef's kiss. Just beautiful. But, yeah, so Gunn, Gunn and his partner took over. And, of course, this was after Cavill's announcement that he was coming back, after, of course, Black Adam. And to kind of wrap up Black Adam, Black Adam, unfortunately, well, it was not a bomb.
I heard it lost money though.
Yeah, it's still, despite what The Rock has put out there, all other reporting has indicated that it's still going to lose money.
Mm-hmm.
And the excuse is that The Rock was covering like DVD sales and other stuff that comes after, but that hasn't happened yet, so those numbers aren't real.
Yeah, just as far as its box office sales.
Yeah,
it's gonna lose.
It's gonna lose
like 7 million.
I think it's anywhere between 50 and 100 million. When
all said and that's done. A little bit different than what I thought.
Yeah, but you know, so it's still gonna be a loss. And you know, I mentioned this in a comment because I've talked about Darth Canucks a lot, and like we talk DC all the time.
Yeah.
But we had a comment about this announcement because for those that don't know, at the time of this recording, yesterday was when Henry Cavill announced that he was not going to be Superman anymore. And we're going to get into that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been talking about this a lot, and it's like, you know, we kind of made the comment that like, yeah, Black Adam was kind of the continuation of like the current status quo for DC and like the DC extended universe in film, and it didn't bomb like some movies have in DC's.
Yeah.
It also was not the runaway success it needed to be.
No, so, especially with the Rock's name on it.
Yeah, and that was actually, I'm really glad you brought that up because that was my point. Is I said when The Rock, who's arguably the biggest action movie star in Hollywood right now, and certainly among the highest paid, can't save your franchise is kind of crap. Like,
well, especially being like for the mainstream, like Black Adam is not a normal character.
No, and you know I feel that, you know, again, The Rock is he went all in on Black Adam.
Oh yeah, no, his acting was great.
Yeah, he was one of the highlights.
What little he got to do as far as acting.
Because
Black Adam's pretty one-dimensional in that movie.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, that's kind of the Superman problem.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's, you know, with Black Adam, it's, you know, again, The Rock went all in on it. He promoted the shit out of it. He used his mass social media following, and he couldn't save DC from itself. So
the impending time bomb.
So we're gonna kind of fast forward, and as we kind of already mentioned, yesterday, James Gunn and Henry Cavill both mutually announced that they were going to be moving forward with Superman without him, Cavill, as Superman. So literally what happened was October, Cavill comes back for the first time.
Yeah.
In Black Adam, makes an announcement he's going to be continuing as Superman.
Like in the movie.
2 months later, he's no longer Superman.
Yeah.
He's done.
And it's not even a full 2 months because Black Adam came out late October.
Yeah, I think it was I think it was like the 20th or the 21st.
Something like that.
But yeah, so as you can imagine, this, you know, the memes have come pouring in. You know, Black Adam, you know, changed the entire power structure of the DC universe. Well, it did.
Yeah.
Because it underperformed, and now whatever the plan was seems to have been abandoned. So,
for better or for worse.
Yeah. So, you know, again, and everything else from here, like, is going to be just pure discussion and speculation. But, you know, I was talking to Canucks, and I said, I think this is a pretty good indication that they're just going to do a full reboot.
Well, I don't see why not at this point. I mean,
yeah, you know,
you don't just get rid of Superman, like one of the biggest stars, especially
the face of your franchise.
The face of your franchise. I mean, he just came off The Witcher, which I know not everybody watched, but I mean, pretty popular.
Yeah.
At least for us in the nerd culture.
Yeah, he was in Mission Impossible. That infamous mustache.
Yeah.
That they had to edit out in Justice League because reshoots and.
What do you think was easier, that or changing Sonic?
I'm gonna say the mustache, just because, like.
Yeah, I know they had to like redo the whole movie for the original Sonic movie.
And the CGI company literally like went out of business because of like burnout. They really? They lost everybody because of that.
Oh, so, wow, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, no, there's been a big discussion about like how Hollywood and like big studios are treating CGI. Marvel, who, as you know, I often sing the praises of, is like among the worst offenders for like really abusing the hell out of their CGI teams. And yeah, it's a big problem, and you know, it's getting some traction now, thank God. But you know, you're up against a bunch of entrenched powerhouses in Disney and Warner Brothers Discovery, and you know, all these other, you know, consolidated studios now. So, you know, best of luck to all the CGI guys, but like, hey, and gals and non-binary pals. But you know, you guys are the real ones. I mean, this is now an era of CGI.
Yeah, no, of course.
And you know, we've obviously seen some bad stuff, but you got to remember that like if there's bad CGI, it's usually because of crunch. So that's on the studios, not on the CGI teams, I think, in most cases. But yeah, so moving forward, that's kind of the big news. It was a huge bombshell, and since we really haven't talked a lot about like DC on the podcast, I'm like, let's talk about this, because this is a big deal.
Yeah.
We've already talked about it, but getting James Gunn, who again, as you mentioned, took a C-tier team in Guardians of the Galaxy and alongside Kevin Feige, turned them into a juggernaut of popularity now.
I mean, they got an actual like video game based off of them here recently.
Yeah, and that never would have happened before. They've also started making cameos in like other Marvel cartoons. Like they started appearing in like the Spider-Man cartoons.
Oh, okay.
And I think there was talks they might get their own series. I don't know if that's still going through, but yeah, I mean they got a Christmas special that just came out on Disney Plus.
Oh, okay. I didn't watch that. I watched the. Was it the I Am Groot series or what was it?
Yeah, they had an I Am Groot like miniseries.
Yeah.
And it was all about like following like baby Groot.
Yeah.
Through like a bunch of adventures. But no, they now have the Guardians of the Galaxy like holiday special, and I've heard pretty good things about it. There's a couple of people who parts of it didn't work for them, but like it's a Christmas special. Like anytime you do a Christmas special, I don't know. I've never seen a perfect Christmas special like ever. The closest one I've seen is like Frosty the Snowman from like the 1960s.
Huh? Is it like the Star Wars Christmas special type of vibes?
No, wait, no, nothing like that. But Mark Hamill did have a very comic response to that about holiday specials.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, he had a very hilarious exchange with James Gunn about that once upon a time. But I think James Gunn avoided that debacle. But yeah, like it stars Mantis and Drax, who I think Gunn has said publicly, it really didn't get a lot of love in any of the non-Guardian movies. They were kind of sidebarred in Endgame and Infinity War to an extent, and I think both of that's true. I think that's accurate. Like, there's been a lot of complaints about like the way Drax was handled, because like in the comics, Drax and Thanos like go way back, and that was still established in the movies, but
kind of.
He kind of gets like his one match with Thanos and gets destroyed, and that's like it. There's no like other moment with him. Avenging his family or anything like that. But so Gunn decided to focus on Mantis and Drax, and some people loved it, some people hated it, and
did Gunn make the Christmas special?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Cool.
So his last rumored Marvel project will be Guardians Volume 3, which comes out next year.
Okay.
They've already started releasing, I think, the teaser trailers for it. So, but then he's going over to DC full time, and all indications say that it looks like he's planning to just kind of wipe the slate clean, which...
Yeah, I mean, based off the news today, I could only imagine... There would be no other right move after saying Cavill's not coming back.
Yeah, and, I think that's... I don't know how much Gunn was really behind it. Obviously, we don't have behind-the-scenes access. We don't have, like, Gunn. We can't, like, call up Gunn on our phone and ask him, hey, what's going on? But obviously, like, this was not a decision that was made lightly.
Yeah.
I really feel that Cavill got screwed by Warner Brothers Discovery, not so much Gunn, because of their inability to commit to anything. I personally, especially after like the Ezra Miller news and them canceling Batgirl outright, and then all the problems they've had with like is Michael Keaton going to be involved? Is Ben Affleck going to be involved? Like with them just dropping top stars like crazy. Like,
oh yeah, speaking of Keaton, I heard or I saw like a fake movie trailer for Keaton being in Batman Beyond as old Bruce Wayne.
So that was a rumored project that got canceled by Warner Brothers.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, because there was rumors that Keaton was attached to two projects. One, of course, was the Flash movie, where he's going to be Flashpoint Batman, and then the other was apparently Batman Beyond.
That would have been fucking dope.
It would have been, and it's still possible it could happen under Gunn.
Yeah,
but it's something.
Yeah, because I mean, Keaton as Batman. That's way before all this other DC bullshit.
Oh yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong, DC's had bullshit for a long time, like, and not just like in their live action stuff, but even in their like even in their animated stuff. I think we've talked a little bit about like the one Batman rule, where basically because they had the Batman and Justice League and Justice League Unlimited airing at the same time, Warner Brothers said Batman is the only Batman character you can use in Justice League, because we can't have two Batmans and we can't have like two versions of every character.
Yeah.
And of course now we look at it like you have Matt Reeves Batman, which is like in his own pocket dimension. You have like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, which is its own pocket dimension. Whatever the fuck is going on in the mainstream DC universe.
Oh, don't forget they shut down the Suicide Squad in Arrow.
Yeah, they did that too. For the same reason, because they had the movie coming out.
I don't think the movie was announced yet.
No.
They totally teased, doing the Suicide Squad, which I think in the Arrowverse would have been interesting.
They actually did do an episode with the Suicide Squad. Oh. And the only reason I remember that is because they had Floyd Lighton going, "This is some kind of Suicide Squad."
Okay.
So it's like a meme-worthy line. It's an amazing delivery, though.
Well, I know they potentially they teased it pretty early because I remember watching it.
Yeah.
Because I never finished the series.
Yeah. So I'll tell you this: like the Arrowverse TV shows, they have their moments.
Yeah.
But as they progress, they tended to get more and more convoluted and worse and worse. And again, they had moments like they brought in like John Constantine, who was amazing, and then they brought him into Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
But it was like, the Flash like had 2 like really good seasons, and then it kind of fell off, and then it was like, okay, then it had high moments, and it had low moments, and high moments again, and then it had low moments again.
Yeah, I mean, because Arrow kept ramping up, and it just got weirder and weirder.
Yeah, and yeah, it just, yeah, DC has a problem. They have problems. Let me just put it that way, and they've had problems for a long time.
Yeah,
and it's unfortunate, but I think it has not, as we've been very open about, I think it's really, really been more obvious in their films.
Mm-hmm.
And with the way they've handled like their top stars and the planning. And Party PETA of Hang Time had a very interesting take that he feels like Marvel captured lightning in a bottle. And when you think about it, like you look at all the other like shared universe attempts that have started, pretty much all of them have failed.
Mm-hmm.
With the exception of the MCU. Like you had the Dark Universe, which was supposed to be...
I was actually, because we were just at Universal Studios yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was explaining to my wife how, like, they created was gonna create an entire universe, and that died in one movie.
Yeah, single movie. Which, again, is like... didn't that have Tom Cruise in it? Like, was he the star? So it's like, you have Tom Cruise, who's a bona fide superstar.
And then I had Russell Crowe.
Yeah, Russell Crowe. You have, like, this amazing cast... And your movie sucks so badly, it destroys your entire like shared universe idea in a single movie.
Because I already had Johnny Depp planned as the Invisible Man. Yeah. Which, after the whole universe got shit canned, they ended up making that other Invisible Man movie. Yeah. Which was more like a thriller than a horror movie. Yeah. And it just destroyed the entire universe in one movie. Yeah, and I mean that's how powerful the Mummy is, dude.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's like Thanos snapping. Only instead of 50%, it's 100%. It's
100%. Just.
But hi Tanner, good bud. But
yeah, because they tried that. I mean, I'm assuming we're just talking as far as live action.
Yeah, live action, because like DC obviously they've done a lot better in like their own like Tanner down boy. Hang on, sorry guys. Tanner, no, come here. Down. No jumping. You know that. What are you doing? And yes, we're keeping this in. Hi. Yeah. I'm not editing this shit out. But yeah. And then of course with DC, obviously I don't think anyone can look at what they've done and say it's a success. No. Like I don't think so.
Like we just even mentioned, they took The Rock and box office wise, it still lost money.
Yeah. The Rock couldn't save it.
I mean, The Rock made money doing a Rampage movie.
He did, which is also surprisingly way better than I expected it to be.
It was better than it had right to be.
I don't know if that was just me going in with super low expectations.
I know, right? But, I mean, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I hope The Rock just turned into a giant gorilla, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But, maybe a sequel. Because
that's what happened in the game when you died.
Oh, yeah, you turned back into a human. Yeah,
so like, The Rock's gonna turn into a giant monkey and beat up the city. No, he's just like Chris Pratt with his Raptors. Just he has a giant monkey instead.
I mean that's fine. That's fair. Speaking of Chris Pratt, his Mario. I'm very it's so weird to see like a Nintendo movie that looks incredible, and your main character's the weakest point.
Yeah, that's the general consensus I've been hearing. I haven't sat down and watched the trailer yet.
It's good. It's Illumination, so it's the studio that did Minions and Rise of Gru and all that other fun stuff and Despicable Me. But so I'll just tell you, everybody in that movie sounds amazing and it looks amazing. And then there's Chris Pratt's Mario, and it's like, ah, yeah. He's not bad. he's just Chris Pratt, and it's like, oh, like everybody else sounds amazing. Oh. Jack Black's Bowser is like every time he opens his mouth, I'm more impressed by it.
And Charlie Day's Luigi seems pretty cool.
Oh, he's fantastic. And then I can't think of the actress who's doing Peach, but she's also really good. I've heard some people complain about her, but I'm like, no, she's perfect. She's wonderful.
Keegan-Michael Key is Toad.
Oh, that's surprisingly good.
I know.
Like, I figured he would nail it because we're obviously seeing Key and Peele. We've seen a lot of that, but like he knocked it out of the park. He's phenomenal.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen or heard Seth Rogen play Donkey Kong, but I did see that Donkey Kong ass.
Well, let me put it this way: Donkey Kong appeared in the latest teaser. Uh-huh. I don't think Seth Rogen actually spoke in it, but I like the direction they're going already. Let me just put it that way. So
yeah, I need to watch it. I just haven't.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So it's just it is like again, PETA has, I think to PETA's point, like Marvel seems to have captured lightning in a bottle, and some would argue now, like I think fairly, that like Marvel's Phase 4 hasn't been as good as the others, but like. Mm-hmm. We haven't talked about this yet on the pod, but like Phase 2 wasn't exactly a walk in the park for Marvel either. They had a lot of hit and misses in there too.
Yeah, I mean Phase 2 was.
both Iron Man 3 and Thor: The Dark World and Age of Ultron are in there, and they're arguably, in my opinion, my bottom tier like MCU films. Mm. So,
I just liked the Hulkbuster in Age of Ultron.
Yeah, no, I mean don't get me wrong, there were good moments of all of them, and even like the worst Marvel movie is still like. You know, it's like saying it's the worst Pixar movie. Yeah, like it's still good.
It's still an 87.
Yeah, it's not what we it's not what we hold them up to their standard when their standards are 95s and above. Uh-huh. Like, yeah, but yeah, and I think there is an argument to be made there. That,
a lot of Phase 2 was building up for Phase 3.
Yeah, and I think that's what Phase 4 is doing too. Like it's reestablishing things, they're trying new stuff, and it's not landing with everybody. But to me, the richest part, and again, we're talking a lot of Marvel on this DC pod, but like. The richest part is like so many people were complaining like it's a Marvel formula. So now you have all these new movies that are not following the formula, and now people are still complaining. So you just can't please people. Some people just exist to complain, and that's my take on it.
The Marvel like TV series or whatever, like they've all been vastly different, and everyone complains about it.
Yeah, pretty much. So yes, Tanner, that is the trash can.
But yeah, no, apparently Gunn is also supposed to be like taking the movies. I don't know if he's supposed to be doing the animation as far as being in charge of that.
I don't think so. Why would you switch something that's working?
Yeah, no.
But it's also Warner Brothers, so the fuck if I know.
I'm pretty sure not, but I know movies and video games, they're supposed to be apparently putting under the same umbrella, which Marvel specifically said they do not want video games to be part of the MCU. They want to keep it a separate thing.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about the continuity. There's too many different studios that make the games, for Marvel, because they don't have a central. I mean, WB does have their own like studio to make the games.
Yeah.
So it's way easier.
Yeah, it's a different situation for sure,
but yeah.
The other thing though too is it's like, I don't know. I feel that's such a bad idea because like kind of what we're seeing with Marvel's Phase 4 is there's so much stuff on there and the quality it's all over the place, and it's like like. There's a reason why they had the Marvel formula for the first 3 phases. Mm-hmm. It's because it was the formula they found that hit the audiences. Now, obviously, superhero fatigue is a thing.
Yeah.
But it's like with DC, it's like they can't even figure out like what works and what doesn't. Mm-hmm. Like, I get that they hired Gunn, but I'm hoping he has like full creative control and he can become like the Feige. Mm-hmm. Because like even Marvel, I've talked about this and I wanted to bring it up when we mentioned Guardians, Gunn's reign in Guardians, but like. Guardians was in many ways the straw that broke the camel's back that finally convinced the head honchos at Marvel and Disney to get rid of the creative community, the creative committee, not community, and give Feige full control. Because Feige, the committee wanted to like water down Guardians, like remove all the retro music and the distinctive soundtrack. Mm-hmm. And Feige and Gunn basically held firm, and they won out. And then when Guardians proved to be a huge success, it was like, well, obviously the committee doesn't know what the fuck it's doing.
Yeah.
So, I'm kind of hoping that DC has hit that point and is going to put Gunn and his partner, who I'm sorry I don't remember his name.
Yeah, because he's obviously listening right now. So but we're sorry, Mister. I'm pretty sure it was a dude.
Yeah, but it's like, I think he was one of the co-writers with Gunn on like Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. I think that's who it was.
Yeah.
I should know his name, and I don't. And I'm sorry, I'm like sorry to all those hardcore like DC fans, but
all 3 of you.
I hope that Hi, Canucks. We love you.
You're the best Canucks.
Yeah, but it's just I'm really hoping they give him full creative control, and it sounds like they did because obviously if he made the call to not continue with Cavill,
I mean
he's overriding the previous decision. So
and he's obviously somewhat in charge, or they're at least throwing him in the fire.
Yeah.
By him being part of the announcement.
Yeah. So I really hope that Gunn is able. Because I've talked about this before, like it sounds like I shit on DC a lot on this podcast. I do, but like we did the tribute to Kevin Conroy last week, and DC obviously, like I've talked about it. Like I'm a DC guy. I have all 4 of the comics you see behind us here on our set are DC comics. Now, granted, they're Milestone comics that DC is appropriated, but nonetheless, DC comics.
Did we talk last week about? I can't remember if we mentioned how Kevin Conroy had one more voice acting gig.
I think
the Suicide Squad.
I think we might have mentioned it.
Okay, I can't remember. I'm sorry
if we didn't, Kevin Conroy has one more role left.
Yeah.
And it's a continuation of the Arkham series.
In the Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad killed the Justice League?
Actually, I don't think we addressed it because we recorded before the Game Awards and that was announced.
Thought so.
Yeah, so no, you're right, we didn't. So thank you for bringing that up, yeah. So Kevin Conroy, in a continuation of our last week's episode, has one more voice acting role, and I wasn't sure about the game. I'm going to buy it just for him. Like, legitimately, to play, because he's going to play evil Batman.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, it's. I think the whole plot is the Suicide Squad, the Justice League has been taken over and possessed by Brainiac.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we have evil Batman.
That'll be good.
Yeah, I think that'll be really cool.
But yeah, was his last role as far as being Batman.
Yeah. So, big shout out again to Kevin Conroy. But yeah, again, like, I am critical of DC's films because they're not good on average. We give props like Shazam and Aquaman and Wonder Woman. And,
they can be fun, but good.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where for me, like, I want them to succeed. Like, don't get me wrong, I do not want Marvel to get complacent. Okay.
Yeah, competition is good.
Yeah, 100%. And like, I love Marvel. I do. I'm a big MCU fan. Like, I literally dedicated an entire series of episodes in the podcast to breaking down MCU films and talking about them.
Oh, we did?
Yeah. Weird. But I would love to do the same for DC, and we probably will at some point. Maybe when we finish the MCU run, we'll switch and analyze every DC film, which will be so much fun because we have to start with Man of Steel, Batman v Superman. That's going to be fun.
We're not going to start with Chris Reeves.
No, we're not going to start with Chris Reeves. We're not going to start on the high note, unfortunately. But it's just...
Man of Steel's not the lowest note.
No, it's not, but it's not the highest either. No. We're going to start perfectly average, and it's all downhill from there. Well, with a couple, high points, Aquaman and most of Wonder Woman, and...
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah. But, it's something, too, we're about to, enter the low point of the MCU, as I talked about. We're going to address, 3 movies in a row that I consider, my bottom tier, so we're...
Oh, yeah,
If those of you have been waiting for me to criticize Marvel, because I've pretty much been singing their praises for the first, 5 episodes we did covering the MCU, buckle up. That'll be coming in 2023, all right? And hopefully we might have a special guest. I'm going to see if scheduling will work out. But we might have a special guest for the return of the Lost in the MCU series.
Super secret special guest, Tanner. Oh, wait.
No.
Sorry, I can't say that. My bad.
Yeah, no. Tanner's also not the special guest. I mean, he is a special guest, but he's not the special guest.
Not the special guest.
But, so, we want DC to succeed. And honestly, out of all this, I feel really bad for Henry Cavill. I really do.
Wait, where does Green Lantern fall in the DC movies? No,
the Ryan Reynolds ones?
Yeah.
It's before, yeah.
Okay. We have to talk about the green suit. Sorry.
I'm out of beer, man.
Oh. I still have another one in the reserves.
Yeah. Someone planned ahead, and it wasn't me. So one time he plans ahead on anything, by the way.
It's beer. After having 2 kids, you need to plan ahead on beer.
That is very true. But I guess to kind of wrap up, Henry Cavill, I think, really underrated part of DC. I particularly have shit on DC's in their film division a lot. I've also shit on Man of Steel, and I've shit on Batman v Superman and Justice League. Cavill has never been the weak point.
No, I mean, if anything, I've only grown to love Cavill more.
Yeah.
I mean, learning he almost missed the audition of Superman because he was playing WoW.
Yes.
I'm like, He's one of our fucking people, dude.
He's also really into Warhammer 40k. He has a video of him painting like his whole army.
Yeah.
He's a Witcher like fanatic, which is part of the reason allegedly why he left is because he got into disagreements over the writers over how much lore they should use. Cavill wanted to go all in. Writers, which this is something maybe you can explain this to me. Why do writers for like any type of adaptation always feel the need to like deviate in the most extreme way possible from the source?
Why would I know? I'm not a writer.
I don't know, but it's just it's
yeah. I mean, no, I definitely. My only thought would just be they're not all in on the source material, and they don't either understand it or they're trying to water it down for the general public to make it more digestible, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's putting it like, yeah, I think that's like the most optimistic way you could look at it, because it's like, how many like adaptations just fail outright because they're just shit?
Yeah.
Like, you know, we talked, I think we mentioned Resident Evil the other day, but like the God, like, great actors, horrible writing, horrible storyline.
Oh, speaking of video game movies, apparently they're going to make a Death Stranding movie.
Oh, boy.
And apparently Hideo Kojima's going to be a big part of it.
Okay, well, that's good. That's encouraging.
Honestly, didn't care about Death Stranding, the game.
Yeah. But maybe as a movie it might be better.
Yeah, as a movie, I'm actually interested to see what they do.
Yeah, well, hey.
You know, because I don't mind the concept and the weird-ass brain, you know, Kojima has as far as making his stuff, but I didn't feel like playing Delivery, like, Simulator.
Yeah.
In this weird post-apocalyptic world.
Also, just a side note, but did you know Kojima narrated the opening for Kind of Funny's Spare Bedroom video? Really good.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen it, but I know he did it.
Yeah, we were. If you get a chance, Tim Geddes loves his hype videos. And
yes.
Man, this is really good. Like, watch it. You will feel the hype. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, shout out to Kind of Funny. And go check out their hype video for their Spare Bedroom, which was their brand new studio they just revealed earlier this year.
Yep.
I watched the reveal live, and man, it's really cool.
Oh, okay.
It's really cool. So if you guys haven't seen it, like, check it out. Kind of Funny on YouTube and on Twitch. But also hashtag not sponsored. Maybe someday. How cool would that be to get sponsored by Kind of Funny one day?
That'd be an interesting turn of events.
Oh man, it would be really cool.
Like to get sponsored by another streamer, so they could go watch.
Hey. Yeah. Well, they do more than streaming, so.
No, they do a bunch. I'm just saying, as far as, yeah.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
yeah, as far as your, people writing and messing stuff up, yeah, my only guess is they just don't understand it, and there's.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's. I was thinking about that the other day, and I'm just like, why did they feel the need to do that? Because, like, I literally... How many, like, adaptations just don't do well?
Yeah, pretty much. I started screaming at my TV during that movie.
Yeah.
I rented it from Redbox and wanted my money back.
Oh, God.
Remember when Redbox was a thing?
I
mean, I know it's around, but it's not a thing.
And it's not really a thing anymore in streaming. But anyway, going back to Cavill, like, yeah, I feel, really got the short end of the stick, both by Warner Brothers. I feel like in both Witcher and in Superman, both of which were passion projects for him, he got screwed by bad writing, bad performance.
Yeah, no, I think he performed well in everything he did.
Yeah, I mean, again, I will never say he was like... I don't think he was ever the weak point. No. I think that's the politest way to say it, and like...
I'll blame Ben Affleck.
I actually enjoyed Affleck's Batman.
I don't know, there's something about it.
I think it was the writing more than anything. Like, I felt Affleck was one of the highlights of that movie.
Or maybe I did, thinking about it a little bit more, I think they just wrote Batman, like, extra poorly.
They did. Like, everything about Batman vs. Superman is pretty fucking terrible. Like... That
and even Justice League, they neutered him even more in that movie.
Oh, God, yeah. Justice League was a hot mess. But
didn't Batman use a gun in Justice League?
Oh, I can't remember, but probably.
I feel like he picks up an AR and just starts blasting people.
Probably. I don't know. Like I said, DC didn't know what it was doing, and I think Henry Cavill paid the price. I think a lot of actors did, but like Henry Cavill's just the latest casualty in that. And like we said, kind of like Jason Momoa is like your only, like kind of the last person standing from like your entire lineup.
And
like,
that's if they keep him. I mean,
it's
especially if there's rumors. If they do get rid of Momoa, that I'll feel that's definitely grounds for a reboot.
Yeah, but I just want to kind of extend that, like, yeah, Cavill, again, really critical of DC, but like, one of the things I think they've done well was casting, and it's just unfortunate that I feel that either their politics, their decision making, and their writing, or all of the above, really squandered that talent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a shame because, like, Gal Gadot, I thought was a really good Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Ray Fisher, I thought was a great Cyborg.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Ben Affleck, like I said, I think did way better in Batman than I expected him to.
Oh, okay.
You know, Henry Cavill was a really good choice for Superman.
Yes.
They just wrote him as a dark, like, evil version of the character instead of, like, I say evil, but, like, he literally killed Zod, and it's like, that's not Superman's thing.
Mm-hmm.
Only evil Superman ever does that. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's like, for me, I think they would have been better going in the direction like World's Finest.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a whole nother story. But it is just a shame. And, you know, again, I just want to state very clearly, because we do kind of want to wrap up here. But I really hope that James Gunn can turn the DC ship around.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to succeed. They've had flashes of brilliance, you know, Shazam in particular, Aquaman. You know, Wonder Woman was really good. The ending wasn't necessarily great, but, like, a lot of Wonder Woman was really solid. Then we don't talk about 84. We don't talk about that.
I know, and it had my boy, Pedro.
It did. Oh, God. He was so excited about it, too.
I know, and he still did a good job, but his character was so weird.
Oh, man. Well, I'll just say this. Like, again, the actors were not at fault for that movie.
And then they had, what's her name? It's Kristen something, who ended up being, Cheetah?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that was a weird choice in my personal opinion.
It really was.
Like, even that casting, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, once they did the full CG thing, it didn't look bad.
Yeah, it was good. It was fine for what it was, but
you know, normally she doesn't play that type of character, I guess. So it was a good, different role for her.
Yeah, and I think she was fine. Like, I think she did okay with what she was given, but she wasn't given, like, anything. So, you know, again, it's like, yeah, again, we want DC to succeed. We really do. And, you know, I don't know. I feel this is, you know, there's been a lot of news. And, you know, obviously with what's happened with Cavill, you know, now out 2 months after he announced his big return, after years of speculation prior to that, like, you know, oh, is he going to appear at Comic-Con and all that other fun stuff earlier this year? It's a real shame. And, you know, I understand why Gunn's doing it if a full reboot is in motion.
In the works, yeah.
But it just, I don't know. I really think at this point the only way you save the DC universe is you scrap the whole thing and hit the reset button. And honestly, if I were in charge, I would say we're not even going to release the Flash movie.
Yeah.
With Ezra Miller. But, you know, again, I'm not in charge. So, anyway, do you want to have any final thoughts of anything we talked about? We covered a lot of topics today, but...
Yeah, I mean, I just know Gunn, you know, again, I mentioned earlier a little bit that they're, you know, doing games and movies, apparently.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how much they just do some multiverse bullshit, like, to keep it, like, connected, but not connected.
That would be the easiest way to do it, is your video games are in one universe, or multiple universes, and your TV's in another one.
You know, and then they can show up accordingly if you want to cross them over.
Yeah.
I know some other IPs are doing that. And I know he does have experience, you know, making games. He was part of Lollipop Chainsaw.
Yeah.
With Suda51.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, so it's not like he doesn't know how the gaming industry works.
Yeah, he's familiar.
As far as keeping that together. So we'll just see. If they do try to make it, like, one big-ass thing, like, that's going to be too much, like, for the average person to, like, keep up with.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll see what's happening with, like, Feige, who's apparently being pulled in, like, way too many directions with all the Phase 4 projects.
Well, not only that, but I mean, just for the average consumer to, okay, watch this movie, watch this series, and play this video game if you want to, like, keep up on everything.
Oh, yeah, that would isolate, you know, the general public, no problem. Yeah.
You know, and I could imagine that would create burnout for anyone that wants to keep up with it all.
Yeah.
But again, if they just keep it like little separate multiverse stuff and, oh yeah, that's the Superman from the game that's now, like, making a cameo in this movie or something.
Yeah.
Like, hopefully they just keep it simpler like that, but we'll see.
Man, I'm really curious if they're ever going to bring back Ryan Reynolds as Green Lantern with the bad CGI and everything now.
Just with bad CGI?
Yeah, it's just deliberately bad.
Oh.
Is that something Ryan Reynolds would absolutely do?
Yeah.
But,
don't make the super suit green.
Yeah. But,
or animated.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I think that's all we've got. So, without further ado, thanks very much for watching. This has been the Lost One Podcast. My name's Shenzo the Lost. He's Shoshima 1016. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye!